Hello everyone, welcome back to our YouTube channel. And here is the second chess composition from the Smyslov workbook. This was an incredible one, and well, because I was motivated to solve it, I thought, okay, I'll not take any help from the authors. I'll just solve it myself from the beginning to the end, and this was fascinating. So, white to play, win the game. I'll give you a few seconds, pause the video, and just try to figure it out what's exactly happening on the board. So here we go. All right, so let's go into the basics of the position. Let's understand what's exactly happening. First things first. So, what do we observe here? We can observe that black has two passed pawns. He's about to promote his a pawn with a check. That's the important thing. And obviously, we also have a g pawn. And the problem is if we try to push it to g7, he promotes a1 queen with a check, and then he can go behind the pawn with queen g1 or even just queen a2, and he can easily stop our passed pawn. So what should be done? Rather, we should ask: is there a way to allow black, just to promote and still win the game? That's the correct question you need to ask yourself. So white here plays the incredible move, bishop to b1. Simply tremendous. Just obviously, he can't take this because once he captures, then just knight takes, and then there is no pass pawn he has, and us RG pawn will then simply go forward and win the game. Well, what about knight to b1 here instead of bishop promoting? The problem is now he promotes, and after the king moves, there is the move queen to a2, and that is why you want the bishop on b1 to cover the a2 square and not the knight. So that's the reason we play bishop to b1. By the way, g7 obviously is quite a slow move here because again promotion, and just he just stops it quite easily in this way. And yeah, that's the variation, and basically there is a perpetual check. We don't win here, so the winning line has to be with this move bishop to b1, and the most important thing is it covers the a2 square. It blocks the queen from going to the g1 square, takes away the axis of the g1 square, at the same time the a2 square, which means that now black queen, even though she promotes, he won't be able to stop the passed pawn. So here we go. Black's move is nearly forced. Obviously forced because we are threatening to take the pawn on a1, a2. So here we go. a1 queen, that comes with a check. And the next move is important, not to let the queen get away, and that's why king to b5. Holding on to the a6 pawn, making sure that the queen does not capture it. What square does it have? Well, it can go to the a3 square, but it's quite interesting what happens now. Well, the main variation is with bishop g3. This is the main line. The question is what happens if queen e3? Thing is, simply g7 turns out to be completely winning. It's like a cruel win. Not only is black's queen unable to stop the pawn, but also there is not a single sensible check here. Everything is in white's favor. White completely wins. So after the move king to b5, black plays bishop to g3. This is the main line of the variation. Now g7, bishop to b8, and here's the trick. Obviously, in problems are full of traps and tricks. And here's one: how should white continue with this position? What would you play here? Well, if you're careless here, it turns out that it can be, unfortunately, a stalemate. Let's say g8 queen, and all he has to do is give up the queen because everything else is trapped. All the pawns are blocked. Bishop is pinned. The king is trapped. All he has to do is give up the queen, and that can be done in a few moves. White will try his best to avoid capturing the queen, but at some point he will have to capture the queen, and that will be a draw because black has no moves. So what do we do in this position? What's the winning move? What's the key move here? So if you said g8 promoting or under promoting to a bishop, that's the right move. Now we are threatening checkmate, of course, over here on d5, and that's the key idea. How can he stop it? Turns out that there's nothing much he can do. He has to escape by moving the bishop. So bishop f4, and now here is a tremendous move again. Bishop to a2, completely imprisoning the queen. This is beautiful. And when I was solving this, I was able to find this move, so I was obviously fascinated. The thing is, now the king escorts the pawn, towards victory, and the black bishop is nearly helpless. There's not much that can be done, and thanks to the black's vulnerable king's position, this gives us some extra chances. Here's what I mean: bishop takes knight. Well, we push forward. Bishop f4. Here comes f7, forcing blacks to reply. That's bishop d6, stopping the pawn. But here's the thing: king c6. Well, the bishop is attacked. It has to move. Bishop goes here, and can you spot the idea? It is king to c7. This was the point. The king is so vulnerable in the corner that now we're actually threatening a checkmate, and there's no way to stop it. I mean, this is I think something around mate in 3 or mate in 5. From here, black can desperately sacrifice whatever he has, but that's just prolonging the, you know, uh, uh, inevitable. Basically, bishop d5 check will result into a mate, and to avoid that, you have to give up a lot of material. Will also promote this is completely winning. So this was the problem, and the most fascinating move uh, was over here when we promoted. Obviously, the first fascinating moment was when we promoted to a bishop under promotion, and then at this point when we went for bishop to a2, completely impressive. This is a very unique setup of pieces, and I've never seen it before, and I was able to solve it, so that gave me a lot of pleasure. This was really a wonderful problem by Smyslov. So hope you enjoyed this, and hope you found out the solution yourself, or at least few of the moves, because this was fascinating. When you solve this kind of problems, you become very resourceful, and you start to use this in your own. You understand how resourceful and beautiful chess is, right? The static part of it. So hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and do subscribe to our YouTube channel. Until next time, see you guys.